We're going to start with the core workflows. We're going to start on the My Team tab, and we're going to work left to right from My Team all the way to videos. So we'll go ahead and start on the My Team. So to log into FastScout, it's all web-based. You log in at fastscout.fastmodelsports.com. This is the first page that you're going to get. So it's your team's dashboard. So this is all stat referencing, just a bunch of different types of stats that you can break down in different ways to kind of analyze your own team. So the first thing I'll show is you'll get rankings here in the second column in either gray, red, or green numbers. If you want to toggle those rankings, they start out in your entire division. If you want to toggle those rankings to just your conference rankings, you can do that right here by clicking conference. The next thing you can do, if I go down to box score here, you can toggle that box score between averages, totals, advanced stats per 40 minutes, just by clicking one after the other. You can also filter the stats by your last 5 games, look at your wins versus your losses. So when you do this, your wins are going to be in the bold, your losses are going to be in the gray. You can look at home versus away, conference, non-conference, and then I'll go back to all games. And then kind of the last thing you can do here is look at chart views of the different stats. So if you just do click the chart button right here, you can toggle between list and chart. And then you can click different stats to view the chart view. If you want to print any of this, the print button is right here. You can just click that and it'll go ahead and print it. The schedule tab is going to be next. So from the schedule tab, you can do a few different things. So this will give you your schedule for the entire season. If you want to filter this down by conference, last 5 wins, losses, home or away, you can do that. You can also search for a specific team. I'll just leave it as the all games. So the first thing I'll show is if you want to view a cumulative box score out of a random set of games in the middle of the season. So say you had 3 losses and you want to see a cumulative box score of those 3 games, you can just check those boxes next to the games. So I'll do these 3 games. Once you check those 3, all you do is click print and it'll actually add up a cumulative box score from those 3 games. So if I click print here and then zoom in, you can view that it generated that cumulative box score. It highlighted some numbers that are above average in the orange, below average in the blue. You can also scroll down and it included a individual box score from each of the 3 games that you selected. Next thing you can do here is you can click on any score. So if I want to look at this Wisconsin versus Minnesota score from the game, the first thing you get is the points per period, the game flow, and the box score from that game. So that's in this box score tab right here. So any numbers shown in orange here are going to be above average. If you hover over them, it'll show the season average. So if I hover over this 15 here, it'll show me that the season average was 6. Any numbers in blue will be below the season average. So if I hover over this, shows that the season average is actually 43. They shot 28% from the field this game. Next, you can jump into the play-by-play. So if you go and click this play-by-play button, you'll get a play-by-play of the entire game. So you get the event, the time, who did it, and everything. But the cool thing about this is you can then filter down by a specific event. So if you want to see Minnesota's turnovers in the second half of this game, you can click second half. I'll click Minnesota, and then you can click this events. You can filter by any of these events. I'll just do turnovers, for example. Hit apply, and then you get the time that turnover happened, who did it, and the score when it happened. So I'll go back to my team. So that was the schedule page. I'll now jump into the roster. So with the roster page, you can do a few different things. So you can scroll through, see the entire team's roster. You can print it from here if you would like to. You can also view 2 per row, 2 players per row. So if I click that, kind of compresses it a little bit if you want to print it in a little better format. And then you can sort. So right now it's sorting the players by number orders. If you want to sort by points per game, you can do that and it'll readjust that way. Lastly, under the My Team tab is Self Scouts. So Self Scouts you can do a few different things with. So they are basically scouting reports that you can create on your own team. So you can basically use any of your templates that you've created in the past and generate a Self Scout based off those. You can also do different things like during the summer. So for example, I have week 1 summer here, a Self Scout for that. So you can send those off to your team and basically generate workouts for your team and send them to their phones. see if they've viewed them, stuff like that. Once you get into the season, if you want to send film from the previous game, you can create the self-scout with the stats from that game and the film and stuff like that. So if you want to learn more about self-scouts, we have part of the webinar series is based kind of on self-scouts and off-season workflows and stuff that can kind of help you in your off-season. So that'll be available on Thursday, I believe. So you can register for that if you want to learn a little bit more about self-scouts and kind of how you can maximize your time in the off-season. So next, we're going to jump to the opponents tab. So from here, we'll have every D1, D2, and D3 team in the NCAA. You can also view your scheduled opponents. I'll jump back to all teams. You can search for specific teams. I'll just use Louisville as an example here. So if I go into Louisville, it basically gives you exactly what you had under the My Team dashboard. So it gives you all the same stats just on Louisville. So I'll go back to the stat view instead of the chart view. So you can scroll through, you can toggle the rankings just like you could on your own team. You can view their advanced stats, their totals, all the same type of stuff. Filter by their last 5, their wins versus losses, same stuff. Also the print button right there for that. Next is going to be the schedule. It'll be the same thing. You can generate the cumulative box score just like you could. You can hop into any box score or any score and view the box score and the play-by-play. One thing that's different is the common. So you can view common opponents. So these are teams that Louisville and Minnesota both play. So if you want to kind of compare how Louisville did against some of your common opponents, you can do that. Next is going to be their roster page. Kind of the same workflow as your own roster. You can filter by number, last name, first name, points per game. Make it 1 or 2 players per row, and then print that as well. The scouts will be the last tab. So these will be any scouting reports that you've created on Louisville in the past. There's none right now because I haven't created any on them, but there will be in a second. So yeah, we'll jump into the scouts tab next. Before I get into that, I'll pause for a second. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and type them into that Q&A section, and I'll answer them for you. So I'll just pause for a second here. All right, so we'll keep rolling. So before we jump into scouts, I'll talk quickly about templates. So templates are going to be the building blocks. They're going to be basically the base of every scout that you create for your season. So I have a bunch of different ones, but basically once you create a template, you use that template for every game going forward that you want to. It basically generates the scout exactly how you want it with a click of a button. The only thing you have to do is then enter any text you want in the scout or any video you want in the scout. Everything else will be saved in that template in the exact order that you want it. So I also wanted to quickly show off our new landscape mode. So if I jump into this scout before I create one, we do have the option to generate landscape scouts now. So to do that, you navigate to this design tab, and then you have this layout option. So you have portrait or landscape. So landscape, brand new. So if you save a template based in landscape mode, you can click this create template button, name it, and then it could be your landscape template. So that's just a quick example of landscape mode. We'll jump back into Scout. So to generate a scouting report, just go ahead and click the new scouting report button. You can name it. If you don't want to name it, you can just do it, type in a random team. I'm going to do Louisville. It'll automatically name it there for you. Then choose your game date. The game date is very important when you're in season, because if your game date isn't set on the correct date, the stats will only populate up until the date that you have set. If we were in season, we'd have all our upcoming games here and we could just click on it and it would set the correct game date for you, but I would always double check the game date. So now I'm going to click Save Template. I'm going to select a random template. I'll just do the fast model default template, click on it, then click Create. So now we got our scout ready to go. So this is based off of the fast model default template. I'll kind of walk through the workflow of creating your own template in just a second. So once you have this, you can scroll through, see everything, exactly how you saved it in that template. We got the personnel, all the different stuff that you want. So now I'm gonna actually delete the personnel. So, and then I'll walk through each tile. So to delete whole pages at one time, you just hover over it on this right-hand side where it says pages, click the X, delete it. And same thing, I'm gonna delete page 3 again. And I'm gonna delete it again. And then to add additional pages, you can either do it from the bottom of the page or from this page's right-hand column, click the plus, add it in. All right, so I'm just gonna start from the top, work my way down, kind of go over each tile that we have to offer and how it'll function. So I'll start at the top here. We got a section header. So with the section header, it's basically just a way to kind of title, section off maybe parts of your scouting report. I see it used a lot for starters versus bench, stuff like that. One kind of little thing here, if the background color, if it doesn't give you black as an option, the color code for black is all zeros. That's just kind of a little tip because I see a lot of people wanting their headers to be black, and if it's not offered there. So all zeros for black. So I'm going to add that in. One thing you can do is double click into it, title it whatever you want, keys to the game. Once you have it titled, it'll save in there. You can also rearrange it just by hovering over it, dragging and dropping it wherever you'd like. Another thing about the header is if I go to the settings page, you can make it half length or full length. So I'm going to leave it as full length just for now. So the next tile will be a spacer. So with a spacer, the kind of point of this would be all the tiles, you can rearrange them left to right wherever you want them to be, but they automatically go to the top of the page. So for some reason, I wanted this section header to be down below a little bit. You could add the spacer in right there. You could resize it and then just put as much blank space in there as you want. The spacer won't show up when you print it or when you send it to your player's phone or anything like that. Just a way to create blank space. Next is going to be the text box. So I'll click on that. It'll go right in. So now the text block is kind of more how every tile will function from now on. So if you hover over it, you have the black kind of ribbon above it that you can drag and drop it on. In the bottom right corner, you'll have the little tab to resize it. So if you want a full length text box, you can add that in. Another thing you can do is hover over it. Every tile will have this 3-dot menu, and kind of anywhere in FastScout that you see a 3-dot menu, it's going to be a settings menu of some sort. So I'll click on that, and then you can do tile formatting. You can add videos from here. You can move tile to another page. You can duplicate this tile. You can hide the header, which you can. I'm going to do actually because I already wrote keys to the game. So then you could just write your keys right here. In your text block, you have a bunch of different text functionalities. So, for example, you can use bullet points, you can use numbers, you can use bold, italics, underlined, change the font size, change the text color, and then you can highlight your text as well. Next is going to be team stats. So there is a lot to this one. So if we just work our way down, each one of these is its own tile, but they'll all function kind of the same way. So in the games, or in the first one, you'll have the games option. So with the games option, you can choose whatever games you want. So once you get into conference play for the season, if you want just conference stats, you can click that. Then as I move over, you'll have the options. For this one, you have the option to choose the columns that you want. FastScout factors is our kind of advanced stats that we use here. And then you'll have the option to customize the stats for your tiles. So if I wanted to add that in, I could just hit this add tile button, and then that would pop right in there. You can resize it. I'll make it half a page. Go back to team stats. After FastScout factors, you have the chart view. Again, you have the games option. Like I said, for all of these, you'll have the option to choose whatever games you want to pull the stats from. This is a chart view. So here's an example of what it would look like. You select the stat here. So if you want true shooting percentage chart view, you can use that. Points per period is next. So with this one, you get the points per period of Louisville versus their opponent. Another kind of thing you could do here is if you want to view also your own team's points per period, you can toggle that and view Minnesota versus their opponent. And then if you want to add that in and also add Louisville, you can kind of get a side-by-side to compare you versus your opponent and your points per game. Team pace is next. So it's just your pace, your possessions. You can do a couple different things here. You can add in your conference, their conference, the rankings, D1 or conference rankings. And again, you can choose the games option. Chart view of the team pace, pretty self-explanatory, just a chart view of it. Individual box score. So this is a box score from just one game. So if Minnesota would have played Louisville earlier in the season, so a conference opponent, for example, you could add that one box score in there. So if it was Duke, you could add that box score in there. Then you choose the stats that you want in that box score, and then you get the example of it right here. If you scroll down and view that example, and you see that there are a bunch of players that didn't play, you can use this hide players option to go ahead and hide like number 3, 4, 11, 12, and so on. So if I click 3, he'll be hidden. If you hit 4, and so on and so forth. Cumulative box score. So this is obviously a cumulative box score. It'll be very customizable. So from the stats option, you add all the stats that you want into your box score. You then choose the players, and then you view the sample. So in this sample, I'll note that it is showing averages for field goal made and attempted, 3 made and attempted, and free throw. A question that we get a lot is how do we flip these from averages to totals? So if I toggle back to the stats, and this is how it's going to work anywhere in FastScout, how to toggle from averages to totals or vice versa. If I scroll down, you see this column order. When you see this, you can do a couple different things. You can rearrange the columns by dragging them to the desired position. So if I wanted steals before blocks, you can just drag and drop it. You can duplicate the stats with a right click, and then you can toggle a stat between average and totals by clicking. So averages are shown in the light gray, so they're all averages right now. Totals are in dark gray. So if I wanted these to be totals, I could just click them, and then they'd be totals. If I wanted one of each, this is where that duplicate stats with a right click comes in. If I wanted field goal made and attempted in both averages and totals, I could right click it, then I have 2 of them, and I can deselect one. So then if I go back to the sample, I get a total field goal made and attempted and an average field goal made and attempted. Add that tile in. There's what it looks like. If I go back to team stats, the last couple ones that we have are team stat comparison. So this will be Louisville versus their opponent. This is the only one that you can't customize the stats on. These stats are set in stone. The reason that these stats are here is these are the stats that come in the second bottom page of a box score. So these are the exact stats that come from the bottom of a box score. You can view them on your own team though. So if you wanted to side by side of this one, you could do that as well. Team stat splits. This one is maybe the most customizable one in the team stats tile option. So you choose all the stats that you want in this. So if you wanted some advanced stats, I'll throw those in there. And then you choose the game splits that you want. So you have offensive splits and defensive splits. So let me deselect some of these. So if I wanted all games last 5 in conference, and same with defense, you then view the sample, and that's what it looks like. So you get just a ton of different stat splits to kind of compare and contrast and see what's going on. Team advanced stats are going to be next. So these are going to be just your team or your opponent's advanced stats. So you got, if you hover over it, you can see what the advanced stat is. So Pythagorean wins, losses, O rating, D rating, net rating, just different types of advanced stats. You can throw your rankings in there or their rankings in there, either in their division or their conference. Clutch stats. Clutch stats automatically default to 5 minutes remaining in the second half or fourth quarter, whether you're men's or women's, and the score within 5 points. You choose the box score that you want to see based off of that, and then you choose the players you want to be in that box score, and then you click the sample, and it generates a box score of clutch stats, basically who's playing the most in the clutch minutes, who's performing the most. So if I add this in, I'm going to actually add another page in here, and I'm going to move this tile to another page by clicking the 3 dots, move tile to another page. I'll move it to 4. So if I view these clutch stats, a couple things you can do. You can filter by clicking any stat category. So I'm actually going to filter by the worst free throw shooter in the clutch minutes. So then you can see kind of who's playing the worst and who's shooting the worst free throws, who to follow in the last 5 minutes of a close game, stuff like that. And then if you didn't want number 10 in there because he's not playing much, you can go to settings, you can go to players, you can remove number 10 and click save tile. Lastly, we have lineup stats. This is clutch stats and lineup stats are both part of our advanced stats. Lineup stats are actually an additional feature as well. So lineup stats are going to give you the lineups that are most played, the minutes, and then you generate the box score however you want. So right now it's an advanced stats lineup tile. So you can see their minutes, their O rating, their D rating, stuff like that within those lineups. So if I add that in, you can go ahead and see that, what lineups are playing the most minutes and what are, who has the best ratings, net ratings, O ratings, stuff like that. So personnel is going to be next. So I'm going to add personnel, click that. So if I want all games in last 5, another split that would show up if Minnesota would have played Louisville earlier in the year, it would show my previous games against this opponent. You could check that box and it would add an additional stat split for the first time around versus that opponent. Now I'm going to jump to stats, choose whatever stats you want in that box score. I'm going to go ahead and toggle these to be totals. I'm going to rearrange some things. And then you view the players. So choose whatever players you want in there. I'm just going to do 5 random ones. We'll get some guys that played a lot of minutes. Then I'll hit add tile, and then those 5 players will go into your scout. If I want these all to be on page 5, I can click this button, hit move tile to page 5. Same with this one, move tile to page 5. So then we got all 5 personnel tiles on the same page. Now we can get into customizing the personnel tiles. So how these kind of function is there's a bunch of smaller tiles within one big personnel tile. So if you just don't hover over it, you can see the tab for the biggest personnel or the big tile around kind of all the little ones. So I'm going to resize this, make it a lot bigger. Then I'm going to do a few things to it. So I'm going to make this smaller. I'm going to make the top one smaller. I'm going to make the image smaller as well. And then I'm going to resize the text box. I'm going to throw 2 text boxes into here. So once you have them, if you want to add another text box, you hover over it. You can see the T, click it. It adds another text box into it. Then you just got to drag and drop it to where you want it. You kind of have to play with it sometimes to get it exactly how you want it. Then you resize it. And I'm also going to add an shot chart in here. So if you have the shot chart add-on feature, you can add shot charts right into personnel tiles. If you don't have it, you can contact your account manager to try to add that onto your package. So I'm going to click this shot chart. I'm going to drag and drop it over here. And I'm going to resize it. And now you got Dwayne Sutton's shot chart in there. I'm going to close this back up. Once you have your tile exactly how you want it, your personnel tile, you can go to this 3-dot menu. You can click apply player layout, select all, click save, and then it'll apply that layout to all the personnel tiles. So it's a big time saving feature right there. The next thing you can do with personnel tiles is reorder them. So if I go to this 3-dot menu again, click reorder player tiles, you can then drag and drop them in the order that you want them to be in. So if I want Jordan Nwora first, you can do that, click save, and then he will show up first. And then from personnel, I'm also going to show our video and synergy integration. So if you make personnel edits, if you have them in your synergy editor and you want to add them into your scouting report, you can click this video button. Once you click that, it brings you to this page. If you click add video, you can either add video from your computer, so you can add any MOV or MP4 to your scout, or if you have this button, you can add it from synergy. So that's our synergy integration. Again, if you don't have this feature, you can contact our account manager and add it onto your account. We're directly partnered and integrated with Synergy. So if I click this, it'll bring me to our Synergy integration. So anything that is showing up right here is exactly the order that it is in my Synergy editor. So this is basically replicates the Synergy editor. Everything will be in the same order. And when you click into a specific edit, all the clips will be in the same order. So if I say Jordan Nwora is Kyle Lowry, if I want to add all his clips, if you have an entire edit made, you can just select all with this top button here, click done, and then call it good. If you have a couple different edits, you can filter a bunch of different ways. So if you had a full game in here, you can search for the title of it. If you want just Kyle Lowry's made threes, you can click that. In the third quarter, you can click that, and then you see that there's only one there. So I'll just check that, click done, add one clip. Another kind of cool thing about this integration is you can add clips from multiple edits. So if I also want some Kawhi Leonard made threes, I can clip that, click done, and now I have 2 clips in there. I'll hit add 2 clips. They'll go right in here, and you can reorder them if you want. So you can reorder these by dragging and dropping them into any order that you want them in. Once I hit save tile, they will then go into that Jordan Nwora text box. So I'll show you what that looks like. So when I hover over Jordan Nwora, it shows that there's 2 videos attached to him. Next, after personnel, we got our leaders. So with these leaders, they're all going to function kind of the same way. So you choose the number of rows you want and the minimum average you want, the stat columns that are in there, and then you hit add tile. So I'll do it with free throw shooters. So choose the games you want to. So if you're having your whole scout by just conference stats, you can do that. I'm going to do 8 rows and the minimum free throw average of 3. Then I'm also going to filter by totals instead of averages, and I want free throw percentage in there. Then I'm going to go ahead and click add tile. Those 8 go in there, and when you're building your template, anything that you filter by or anything you title will save that way going forward. So I'm going to title this worst free throw shooters, and then I'm going to click on free throw percentage and toggle that to be worst. So then you'll have the worst free throw shooter saved in there. Another thing I'll add from the leaders is I'll just do 3-point shooters. So we'll again do 8, minimum average of 3, totals, add tile. Then we got the top 8 3-point shooters. So I'll retitle this best 3-point shooters. And I'll filter by the best percentage. Next is going to be recent games. So these will be the last however many games you want to show. It defaults to the last 5. If you want to show the last 2, you can do that. Last 10, whatever. Once you add that in, it just shows the opponent, date, site, result, and score of those games. So delete that all. And then next is going to be depth chart. So when you click on depth chart, it gives you this view. You can toggle the positions if you want them in abbreviated or written out point guard, shooting guard, or number wise. To add players to the depth chart, all you do is click on a select player and add those players in. So you just choose the player from the drop-down menu. Custom table is next. So in the custom table, you can do basically whatever you want. You can make it into whatever you want. For example, I'll make it into a matchup table. So to customize this, you go to the 3-dot menu, you click settings, and then from here, you can add rows, you can add columns, or you can delete rows and columns. So I'll add 3 more rows, call that good. I'll title it matchups, do Minnesota versus their opponent. And then you can go ahead and just type right in here. So works basically like an Excel doc. I'll resize it a little bit. So the last couple features are going to be shot charts and fast draw integration. So with shot charts, you just click on it. And as I showed, you can do player shot charts right in their personnel tile. You can also do them here so they're a little bit bigger. If you want to see them a little bit better, you just select the player, select the games, and then add the shot chart in. You should also choose the shot chart type. I'll do a team shot chart. So I'll do a hex and a zone. So I'll add this in. This will be Louisville's team hex. chart. And then I'll add another one in. That'll be Louisville's zone shot chart. Lastly, FastScout integration. So if I click this plays tab, in your FastScout integration, all your plays from FastScout that you have fast shared into FastScout web will show up here. If you've added video to them already, the video will show up here. So I'll just add a couple plays in here. So I'll do these 2 plays. Once you've selected your plays, you can hit add 2 plays. Another thing you can do once they're into the Scout, you can choose the frames per row. So I'm going to do 1 frame per row since it's only 1 frame to make them a little bit bigger. You can see that this one already has video attached to it. So if I click on it, you can see the video that's there. You can also add video right here. That brings up kind of a reminder where you can add video to any tile in the entire scouting report that you want, except for a section header and a spacer. So anywhere you want video, you can add it in. So once you have your scouting report, or if I was building my template, if this was the way that I wanted to use my scout for the entire season, you go up here to the top, you click create template. You can name it 2021 scouting template. Hit save, and then you can use that for every game going forward. It'll be in this exact order. Everything that you have saved will save in that order. A couple other things you can do from up here. You can print it or PDF it. So to print it, you just click this button. It'll print off in the way that you want it. A couple little things that you have to have set is make sure you uncheck headers and footers. Otherwise, sometimes it includes another page, and select background graphics, and that'll add the color in. And then to save it as a PDF, you just hit this open PDF preview button, and then that'll save it as a PDF. Another thing you can do is if you play Louisville, if I was playing Louisville twice, you can duplicate the scout. So if I click this duplicate button, you can name it Louisville game 2, select the date of the second game, and then that scout would already be there for the second time around. Lastly, from the scout is presenter mode. So this is another kind of add-on feature, but it's pretty nice. It basically presents your scout as a PowerPoint. So if I click this button, it'll bring me to presenter mode view. And then you can basically just use hotkeys to kind of tab through your entire scout. And then you can view any video that you've attached to your scout as well. So I'm just going to use the tab button to go through the entire scouting report. Once I get to video, I'll show you what that looks like. So we got Jordan Nora. You view his stats, his shot chart, and then you get the video that we have attached to Jordan Nora. And so on and so forth. So that's presenter mode. It's a really nice feature to kind of use in team meetings to present your scouting report to your team kind of as a PowerPoint. So I'll exit out of that. I'll click done in my scout. So the next thing I'm going to do is once I have my scout ready, I'm going to send it to my players and my other coaches on staff. So if you hover over it, this Louisville scout, click the 3-dot menu. I'm going to click mobile access. And then I'm going to click select all. If you want to send it, to specific players or position groups, you can do that as well. Or if it's a coach's scout, you can send it to only coaches, whatever you want. I'm going to click save. Once I click save, this little thing highlights here. It says mobile access enabled. So I'll jump over to my phone. I'll refresh it. All your players get a push notification that a new scouting report's available. And then you can see it right here. So I'm going to click on this Louisville. The first thing I want to point out is the download button. So you can download any scout to your phone. And then it basically guarantees that you won't have any issues playing any videos if you have bad Wi-Fi or bad data. So I always recommend downloading that scout right when you get it, just to make sure that you'll have no issues. The cool thing about that is it will delete from your phone's downloads after 7 days. So it won't keep taking up storage on your phone, which is nice. So then if you scroll through the scout, you can view kind of anything that the entire scouting report tile by tile. So I will show Jordan Nora. You can scroll through his stats. You can see his shot chart, and then you can view the video. So I'm just going to click the play all button. I'm going to let him play through quick. All right, so once your video is played through, you can move on to the next one, view kind of whatever you want. So the hex shot charts, the plays that were added, the play that had video on it is last here. So the video shows up the same way. You can use play all, or you can play it from right here. But anyways, once you send it out to your players, you can go back onto the web maybe a couple days later. You can click this same button and look at mobile usage, and then you can track what players are kind of looking at the scout, watching the videos. So this is me. I looked at 7 out of 31 tiles, and I watched 1 out of 3 videos. For a video to be counted as watched, they have to watch at least 90% of it, I believe. So they can't really cheat the system. The next thing with the scouting report, if it wasn't ready to send out to players, you can make the scout offline. So if you're a coach, if you're jumping on the bus or the plane, whatever you do, and you want to knock out a scout, you want to get it done while you're not on Wi-Fi or whatever, you can go to this 3-dot menu. You can click offline mode, and that'll download your scout locally to your computer. So as long as you have this page open when you're jumping on the bus, you'll have access to this Louisville offline scout. You can go in, make any changes that you want while you're on the bus, then click done. When you get back to the hotel or back to the office, wherever, on Wi-Fi, you can bring that scout back online. And then it'll be back in the opponent scouts. One last thing from this scouts tab here is you can archive scouts. So if I just want to archive this FGCU scout, you can click that 3-dot menu, archive it, and then it'll go to this archive tab. So you can archive a whole bunch of scouts just to kind of clean it up. And then if you want to, delete scouts permanently, you can go to this 3-dot menu from the archived. You can either restore it or you can delete it. So I'll delete a scout just to show, for example. Another note is if you accidentally mess up something inside of your scout and you need to restore something from backup, you can go to that 3-dot menu, click restore backup, and then you can choose the time that you want to restore it from. So it saves pretty often. So, if you just deleted a page by accident, you can go back in this, restore the backup, click restore, then it would bring that page back, basically. So next is going to be our plays tab. So if you have the fast draw integration, you have a plays tab. Anything you draw up in fast draw, every time you fast share, all your changes, all your new plays will get uploaded to this plays tab. So in order to see your changes, you have to fast share on fast draw. If you want to make a change, you have to go into fast draw, make the change, and then fast share. So you can scroll through all your plays, view your plays on here. From here, if I want this, let's pick a different play. If I want this Bucks 3 to have some video attached to it, so from a game or from practice, I can click this add video button. I'll do from Synergy. I'll just pick some Marcus All clips. I'll just do a few. Click done. 3 clips of that play, and then those 3 clips show up right here. So once you have the video attached to it, if you want to send out your plays to your players, so whether it's preseason and you want to send out your own plays, or if it's in season and you're sending your opponent's top 5, top 10 plays, whatever you're doing, you just click mobile access, check the box next to the play you want to send, click manage access. I'm just going to hit select all, hit save, and then the little phone will show up once that gets sent out. So, oops. So this says mobile access enabled. So I'll jump to my phone. I'll go to this plays tab at the bottom here. And then I got the Bucks 3 right here. So you can scroll through the frames, and then you can view the videos that were attached to the play. Another thing on the plays tab on the phone. So this is useful, really useful for once you hit the season. And if you've sent a bunch of plays to your players, they can filter by the season. So I'll go 1920. They can filter by the team. So, if I'm the Bucks, you can filter by your own team, or you can filter by your opponent. So if we're playing Louisville next week, if I had Louisville in there, you could do that, or the series. So that's nice for sure. You also have a playbooks tab under the plays tab. So if you have all your playbooks in there. So if this is my 2021 playbook, it's kind of the same process to send it to the phone. So you just click manage access, check it, click that, hit save, and then it'll show up that it has been sent to the phone under the playbooks tab right here. So if I refresh it, it's just right here. You can scroll through the PDF view of your entire playbook. The last tab up here is going to be the videos tab. So from the videos tab, it's kind of the same thing as the plays tab. You can add any videos that you would like from this option right here, either from your computer or from Synergy. So if you want to send practice film to your players, if you make custom edits after games, you want to get those edits right to your player's phone without having to create a scouting report for that, you can do that from here. So if I just add some clips from Synergy, if I add a couple in here, click done, add 3 clips, those 3 clips will get added in there. And then if I want to send those out to the phone, check the ones that you want to send, click manage access, select all, save. And here's the push notification that you get too. So you have notification, you go to the videos tab, refresh it, then those 3 videos are in there. And you can play them. You can go full screen right here. You can download videos. So if I click on this, the download button is right there. So if you sent out like an entire practice, you could download it. It might take a while, but yeah. You can also sort and search for different videos or plays. Newest to oldest, alphabetical, with these 2 buttons up here. And that same goes for plays, playbooks, and scouts. You can sort and search at the top. So if you want to remove some videos from the phone, it's kind of the same process, just backwards. So if I click mobile access, if I want to get rid of all the videos on my phone, you just click mobile access, check the boxes. You can kind of see what ones have already been sent because they're highlighted. So I'm going to check all of them. I'm going to click manage access. I'm going to check myself, click save, and then they all get unsent from my phone. So then it says no videos available. So yeah, that kind of covers everything. So now is a great time to ask questions if you have any. We got one in there. Will there be a replay of this? I believe it's recorded, but we also offer them bi-weekly. So if you would want to register for another one, you could definitely do that. Sorry, I'm answering. So the question was, will there be a replay? These are offered bi-weekly, I believe. And then we have some different ones as well that will dive deeper into different functionalities. So there's an advanced stats one that will dive really into the advanced stats and how those can be beneficial for your team and shot charts. And there's a off-season workflow one that can show how you can use this product right now and how it can be beneficial for your team. And then there's a video integration one and how you can integrate video into different parts of scouts, different parts of the FastScout in general. So, yep. Any other questions? If you want me to go over anything again, I can definitely do that too. Good time to ask questions. I'll leave this open for the next like five minutes or so. So if anyone thinks of any questions, go ahead. If you don't have any, I appreciate you taking the time. We do have a question right now. In presenter mode, does the tab key allow you to skip from one video to the next? Yes, it does. So in presenter mode, there's a whole bunch of hotkeys that you can use. So but the most important one is definitely tab. So you just use the tab button to slide or move from one slide to the next and one video to the next. Spacebar is to pause. You can use Command and Option for your fast forward, rewind. I believe we have a whole key on our support site of all the different kind of hotkeys. So yeah. Another question, do you need to fast share to save? So you need to fast share in FastDraw to back up all your plays, to share your plays with your staff, and to upload all of your plays and all of your changes into FastScout to the Plays tab. So that is what the Fast Share button on FastDraw will do. Very important to fast share often. Another question, can you swipe between tiles on the mobile app, or do you have to close each tile? So on the phone, you have to close each tile. So if I go into Scouts, you do have to close each tile. So if I just go to this, you have to choose this Louisville Cardinals. But if you have an iPad, it'll actually show all the tiles on the left, kind of in the order, and then it'll show each tile that you select kind of on the main screen. So on the iPad, you can kind of just choose each tile and basically swipe between each one. But on the phone, you have to close out of each one and go on to the next one. So. Another question came in for offline mode. Can you turn your computer off and turn it back on to access the report that was moved offline? The answer is yes. One thing I forgot to mention is in offline mode for the scouts, if the scout's been made offline, you need to keep you need to stay on the same computer. If you go to a different computer, you won't have access to it because it's saved locally on that computer. But yeah. Question, will there be a replay of this? I'm not 100% sure if there will be or not. I can find out and then I can get back to you on that. I have your email, so I can definitely find out and then get back to you on that. Another question, is there a way to do team comparison side by side? For example, all my school stats side by side versus my opponent. Yes, kind of. There's a couple different workflows you can do for it. Let me jump in and show you real quick. So let me know if this answers your question. So if I go into here, let me create a new page. So you can do team stats. You can do team stat comparison, or team stat splits. So you can do this on Louisville. So choose all the stats that you want. So Louisville is my opponent. So I'll just do all games offense and all games defense. I'll add that in. And then I can do, so if I do this Louisville, then I can go to team stats, go to team stat splits, toggle this to my team, Minnesota, all games offense, and all games defense. Add that in. Then title it Minnesota. Hopefully that answered your question. Any other questions? I can stick around for another 5 minutes or so. If anyone thinks of any questions, just type them in there. I just got confirmation that these recordings will be posted on our YouTube channel, so you'll have access to them to watch the recording, as well as additional webinars given each week. So you can either watch the recorded ones or watch the live ones. Another question, any idea how soon the recording will get posted to the YouTube channel? I am working out on finding the answer to that right now. So I'll let you know when I have an answer. And the answer to that is within 24 hours, they'll be posted. I'll be on for about 4 more minutes if anyone else has any questions. All right. I appreciate everyone joining today. Gonna jump off now. So have a good one, and I encourage everyone to check out the upcoming webinars as well.